Hi, this is Mukhtar from codingmoney.com, and today we're going to work on a very common coding interview question. Given a string, return the character that is most commonly used in the string. Example, if you're given a string like A, B, C, 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 D, then we'll return the character C because C is the most commonly used character in this string. And as you can see in this second example, you see 1 is repeated the most in this string, therefore we'll return the character 1, not the number 1. So once you learn how to solve this problem using the technique that I'm going to give you in this video, you'll be able to solve a variety of other common string questions. For example, what is the most common characters in a string? Does string A have the same characters as string B? Anagram questions. Does the given string have any repeated characters in it? These are some examples of the problems that you would be able to solve by using the method that I'm going to teach you in this video. But first, I would like you to give this problem a try. I'll be right here. Pause the video. All right, welcome back. I hope you were able to find a solution. If not, doesn't matter. We'll work on it right now. Just by looking at this problem, we know that we need some kind of a data structure to keep the count of each character in a given string. So we would need a character map. Let me give you an example, something like this. A1, B1, and C, not sure how many, like about 7, and D1. Just something like this. We need something like this. Okay, so to come up with something like this, we already have a data structure in JavaScript called object. JavaScript objects are like this. We can also use another data structure called maps, which is something new, but we'll use an object in this case. So, but how to do this? How can we? Of course, we would have to loop over through each character, like one by one, in a given string, and try to count it, and then store the values in this object. Okay, so let's get started. Of course, we would need an object, so we'll create an object called character map, char map, and we'll set it to an empty object. Okay, and now we need to loop over the string. We need to loop over each character in a string, and add the value to the character map. So to loop over a string or an array, we can use the same syntax. For let char of str, str is the input. So we need to say if there's already a value in the character map. If there is, then we need to increment the value. If for example, if there's no entry for A, we need to create a new entry for A and set it to equal 1. I mean, the first time we set the value, we will set it to 1. And then if we come across the same character, we need to increment the value. So to do that, we will check the character map for that value. If we have the character in the character map, then we'll increment it by 1. If we don't have it, then we'll we'll set the value as 1. Okay, like for example, how would this how this loop would work? It's very easy. So we're gonna loop over each string, and so for example, when we are at a, we'll see that if there is a in the character map, no, there is not. So we'll set a equal to 1. All right, then it goes to b. Do we have b in the character map? No, we don't have it. So we'll set b equal to 1. So the else part will run. So when it comes to c, do we have c in the character map? No. So we'll set it to 1. And then again, it will come to c. Do we have c in the character map? Yes, we have. So increment by 1. So it will become 2. And it will again come to c. Do we have c? Yes, we have. So we will increment by 1. So it will be 3. It will keep on doing this and until we have the character map with the count of each character in our input string. So we will have that, right? Just to be sure, let me return it to say that our character map is working. So let me save this. Let me run this. Okay, we need to call the function. So let me call this one. I need to save it and run it. As you can see, we have created our character map with the count of each character in the input string. So we have something like this, as I was showing you in the example before. Now this is object, right? We need to loop through the object to find which one is the most commonly used character in the string. So I'll show you two ways of looping the object. One way is old way of looping through an object, and I'll give you a newer way of looping through an object, which is much easier. So let me first of all give you the older syntax. And the way that we loop through the object is by converting it into an array. And how we can convert an object into an array is by using something called object.entries and passing the object. In our case, it is character map. So to loop over, then we have it will return an array with the keys and value. Just like in our character map, these are the keys and these are the values that we created earlier. So we need to use a for loop to loop through this array now. So for that, we say for const destructure it. So I'll destructure and get the key and value from this array. So of object.entries like this. And then, yeah, so this is how we're gonna loop through an object by converting it into a character. Let me show you how it looks like. So let me console log this. So we get key and value. So let me save this and run it. See? So we get the key and the value. This is the output from this loop, as you can see. So we get the keys and values. Okay. All right. So now what do we need to do? We need to find which one is the maximum. Like we need to find give an instruction to the computer to find see, like we can see, like we are humans, we can see that this one is the most commonly used character, but we need to tell the computer to find this one. So to do that, we need to check each one. We need to check each one of these to see which one is the maximum. And to keep account for that one, we need to create another variable called max and set it to 0. And also to get the character, the max character, we'll need to create another variable and set this to an empty string. So now we'll just check for a condition. Like we'll see, we'll say if value, if value is greater than max. So we'll see, like the first one, if is this greater than max, which is 0? Yes. Then we'll set this max to the value, and max char to the key, right? So this will loop through each one. Like this will first of all, it takes a, see, is this greater than 0? Yes. Then it updates the value for max and max char to a. It comes to b. Is this greater than 1? Because it's been changed to 1. Yes, it is. No, it is not. Then it skips that. It comes to c. It sees that whether the value, which is 7, greater than 1. Yes. Then set the value to 7, max to 7, and set max char to the key, which is what? C. And return what? We need to return the max score. Let me save this and run it. All right, so we're getting the correct output from our code. This is a working code, but now we're going to try to optimize it a bit. And I'll show you, I'll show you a newer way, an easier way to loop through the objects. All right, so we can use similar syntax that we used to loop through the string. We can use this syntax to loop through arrays as well. So we can use something like this for the objects as well. So how can we do that? There's just a small little change. So we can say let key of car map. As you can see, this is exactly the same syntax, but we can't use let key of object, which is a car map. We cannot use that. For the objects, the change that we need to bring is we need to change off with n. So this is a bit opposite of each other. So when you want to loop through the arrays and strings, you will write off, and O starts, like object starts with O, so that's not what you're going to use for objects. You will use n for the objects. So now here to check the value, we need to say char map key Okay, for the value, this is how we're going to write it. And so for the key, we just write key over here. Let me save the code, run it again. Okay, we are having a problem here. As you can see, it's case sensitive, so we need to be careful with naming our code. So let's run it again. See, we're getting the same output, but this one is much nicer, cleaner code, and you just need to remember very few things to be able to loop through the objects. However, the earlier example had like you need to remember object.entries, and then you need to remember to pass the object into that method. So this one is much easier. This is my personal opinion. Also, we can refactor this code to make it much smaller. So we can convert the same code in just one line of code. So here we can say if character map, okay, and if there is a character map, then we will add a 1 to it, or if it does not exist, then what we will do is we'll just use 1. So let's see. Okay, let me save it and run the code. As you can see, this looks much cleaner and short. As you can see, we just convert the if else statement into one line of code. You can do this like even if it is too much to do like +1, you can do something like ++ character map or 1. So if you save it and you see our code is working fine, let's run the other test case. Should get 1. Yes, it's working just fine. All right, thank you for your time. This video took a little bit longer than expected. I just wanted to give a little bit more detail for the beginners as well.